Hello, fellow book lovers of the internet. I'm Cecil. It's Wednesday, and it's time for our second quarterly writing vlog of the year. I've been writing nearly nonstop since end of April, early May, so that bodes very well for us here. I also took the second part of my astronomy class from last summer, so my sci-fi wheels are spinning. It's been great. We talked about black holes and neutron stars and all that stuff. Oh, it's been great. It's been a fun quarter. Let's take a look at the goals progress, skipping the progress on the outline for now because that one is still on the back burner until I figure out where I'm going with our current world building. First, finished writing 2 fanfictions. I've written one. The finished fic was not a planned piece at all. I haven't shared it yet. I will probably do so later this year. It was supposed to be a one shot, and I guess it technically is, but it's also over 25,000 words long. Oops. This was written over 2 weeks, where the muse seized me and threw me into a writing frenzy, resulting in half a metric NaNoWriMo of silliness. So, no regrets. It was a blast. Um, and honestly, I like it. So, in the midst of the violent burst of inspiration, I am the fic I'm currently writing and posting went from a projected. In the midst of this violent bout of inspiration, the fic I'm currently in progress on went from 10 chapters projected to 15, and then from 15 to 20. I have no idea how I ever thought I would be able to squeeze everything into only 10 chapters, but also stuff has happened in canon. Stuff that recolors my interpretations and takes a slow burn and makes it even slower. So, unfortunately, this means that the urban dark fantasy style fic that I mentioned previously is getting put on the back burner, probably until next year. Um, that's fine. It's still going to be fun to work on. But damn, I did not expect this fic to grab my throat so hard. The nonlinear narrative is still a fun way to write, though I think I made a mistake by writing all of it in the present tense. I think once I hit the halfway chapter, I'm going to go back and edit it so that the flashbacks are in past tense and the present day snippets are in present tense so that it's a little bit easier to follow. Especially since after the halfway mark, I'm gonna flip the focus from mostly flashbacks to mostly present day. And I think it would read weird if I keep it structured as is, but that's half the fun of fanfics, as I have said before, playing with different genres and styles and figuring out what works or doesn't work for you. And of course, because Kaveh and Alhaitham are running wild in my mind lately, I'm even dusting off an old work in progress ship talk for my main channel to finally get around to making next month, so stay tuned for that, I guess. Our other goal is to be back into world building, which I've been thinking about spectrometry and elemental particles and world maps, random map generators, a godsend. I've been mostly using Asgar's fantasy map generator to build my concept of a world map. Major recommend. That program is incredibly in depth, and I've been obsessed with it for years. But because there's so many little details to work with, it makes me unreasonably nervous. I keep catching myself trying to make the map completely perfect and realistic, even in areas that I know that Heather and Aaron are never going to, and I don't need to be going that hard. And I'm creating my own roadblocks to success. I can recognize that. I'm also struggling to conceptualize the sheer size of a population. Having a few thousand people on a continent that is mostly abandoned feels weird and unrealistic at first. And then I remember that my high school had 2,000 people every day. Thousands of people feels like a lot, but it really isn't. And especially in comparison to the size of an Earth equivalent planet. So That's something I'm working through, rationalizing in my mind that an area can be a ghost town of a continent and still have a high school's worth of residents. Like, sure, our high school was pretty packed, but if we had the whole of North America, we'd barely ever see another person, you know? As for my astronomy class, I've been thinking about how we use spectrometry to determine the composition of stars and other objects in the universe, as well as using blue and redshift to kind of figure out how close or how far the objects are, how quickly they're moving away from us, so on and so forth. So, as I was considering the structure of the fictional multiverse and how maybe the advanced alien civilization could have found a way to use spectrometry of subatomic particles to observe fingerprints of other universes that they encounter. It would take a lot of hand waving and pseudoscientific nonsense, but I'm kind of excited by the idea. And frankly, I mean, the majority of the majority of the multiverse is hand waving and pseudoscientific nonsense. It's just about making it sound plausible enough, you know? It could help in the rationalization of wormholes and how they ensure everything gets from point A to point B with as little interruptions as possible. It could also be part of how they find compatible worlds to travel between and how they research those worlds before travel. Like, you know, similar stuff to how we actually use spectrometry with looking for chemical composition and temperatures of planets and stars, but they would be looking for not just that but compatible laws of physics, planets that have life that could be supported on an earth-like planet and vice versa, places with the most stable potential for a wormhole connection, if that makes sense. Again, hand waving, pseudoscientific nonsense, but it kind of makes sense, right? As for the outline, I do want to get back to it, but I still, until I get past my map related hurdles, it's not going to happen, and I know it's not going to happen because I'm still thinking about the logistics and the multiple viewpoints on a war that's been going on for a long time. And also, I'm just trying to figure out how tall this mountain is. Like like I could very much not be doing that, but I am doing it. I am thinking about how tall the mountain is. I'm sorry. I think mountain climbing and rock climbing is hard. And I think knowing how much they actually have to do before it becomes absurd and unrealistic is helpful. No one who would know. Like genuinely, even books with maps. You could just be like, "Hey, and then we did this." And it doesn't even have to be that serious, but I can't. It's the autism. It's always the autism. It's one of those where it's also hard to work on because it's to the point where everything is pretty much as it was before, but it's also nothing like it was before. And I'm just like, I don't know how to express that in writing, where it's like, remember all that stuff we did in the original draft? Well, we're gonna do it again. Um, but different. So that's kind of a thing. I'm kind of rolling back and forth a couple other ideas, and there's so much, but that's okay. We will figure it out, and hopefully by the end of Q3. So at the end of September, we will actually have outline progress. So we'll see. Even if I'd only just started, because I do think that once I get through my silly self-imposed creative hurdles, I'm gonna do fine. You know, it's just gonna take time to get there, and I'm really hoping to get there soon. So catch me figuring out this map. Anyways, that's I feel good about the work that I've done the past few months. It's been successful. I feel like my creative muse is alive and well, and I can tell because I'm still powering through some stuff, even with the worst of the heat waves, and it's not pushing into exertion. I have chronic fatigue, and when I exert myself even creatively or mentally too far, it can trigger a flare, but we've actually been doing good, all things considered. Let me know in the comments how your writing projects have been coming along so far. If you are struggling with writer's block or any sort of creative block, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Not to sound ridiculous, but like, man, it gets better. Eventually, something happens that hits your muse, and that's all you really need. Let me know how it's going. I will see you in the next one. Bye.